Alright, so good morning. This is Mike Lauro with the Little Rock Table Tennis Club, and this is the 6th video in changing rubber on a table tennis paddle. So I put the first sheet on last night. I put a couple of books on it and it sat overnight. So now I'm going to take the books off. We're going to cut the first sheet and then we're going to put the second sheet on. Alright, so for scissors, I just have this small stainless steel set that I've used for a long time. I could probably get some sharper ones, but because the handles are the finger holes are so small, and I like to put a lot of pressure, I have a glove that I use to help stop my finger from hurting while I cut this, because I'm going to put quite a bit of pressure, and I've had some purple marks on my fingers from doing this. I could probably fix that from doing a if I get some sharper scissors or better ones, but I like these, they work. So I'm just going to peel off the protective cover, and just going to check the rubber for any inconsistencies. I don't really see anything. It all looks good. So we're going to cut. Alright, so I like to have a white background behind me so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to start at one corner, and I'm going to have the scissors slightly angled a little bit so that I'm not just cutting straight up and down around the blade. Let's see, do I have something to... Alright, so we'll use this piece of rubber. So if I'm going to give the rubber back to the player, I'm going to put both sheets... Take this glove off. I'm going to take both sheets of the old sheets, and I'm just going to put them together and put them in one of the plastic coverings that the rubber came in, and just give that back to the player. Alright, so I'm going to cut, and I'm going to, the whole purpose of this was to show the angle of the... So when I cut, I'm not going to cut like straight up and down like this. I'm going to cut a little bit on an angle. And what that's going to do is it's going to help even out the edge. So the edge will be smooth around here. There won't be any overlap on the rubber over the blade. So just a little bit of angle. And I'm going to cut in 1/4 inch sections. Small cuts rather than big cuts. We're going to do a 1/4. And then we're going to snip the rubber off. With another 1/4. Snip the rubber off. Another 1/4. Snip it. And then we're done. I do that because I don't want the weight of the cut rubber to pull. Like if I get cut here and I come down to here, the weight of this rubber, this section, is going to pull down, and it could pull away some of the adhesion here, so I want to stop that. So we're just going to start and just make small cuts, again with a little bit of an angle. Alright, so now I'm putting a good deal of pressure on these scissors, which is why it tends to hurt my hands. Just going to keep going. Alright, now I'm going to cut that off just to reduce some of the weight. And I'm going to pick up again with a lot of pressure and small cuts, keeping the scissors angled a little bit sort of away from the top part. I'm going to keep going. I believe the other side is where that divot was, so we're going to check that. A little bit more, and then I'm going to cut off the excess here. Alright, so halfway done. Small cuts. Fingers hurting. A little bit more. Another cut. If you also want to keep some of these as samples, like this is Exiom Omega 5 Tour Max thickness, you could always just cut off a piece like this. If you wanted to keep a collection of rubber, and if you wanted to measure the hardness of the sheet, of the top sheet or the sponge, you have these remnants here that you can use for that if you want. Or if you want to make a very tiny paddle, you can use these. Alright, so let's finish the cuts. Just about a fifth of the way, I guess. So we'll just keep cutting through the end and it'll cut off there evenly. Alright, so now that the first sheet's cut, I'm just going to visually inspect, get some of the dirt off. Alright, so that looks good. And the part where there was a some damage in the wood was right there. But when you look at the the rubber, I don't see much of indentation there at all. So it's pretty smooth all the way around. So that looks like a good job. That was actually a good cut. Sometimes I'm not consistent with the scissors and I get a bad cut. Or when you cut long pips, sometimes it can be difficult to cut. So I'm just going to breathe on the rubber a little bit, wipe it off. Alright, so to clear off the surface, we're going to go with the second sheet. So I have my butterfly free check. I have my plastic applicator. This one's dirty. Just clean the glue off of that. This water-based glue cleans up really easily. You can just rub it and it'll come off. Alright, so I have my applicator holder and then I have the little rubber sponge. Just gonna clip it. I have my roller, glue, applicator, and I have the rubber sheet. So we're gonna take this one out. Basically gonna do the same thing as before. Alright, so this is the red sheet. Okay. The label's down at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is take this, I'm going to line it up, make sure there's nothing on that. Line this up. Flip it over. And then 1, 2, 3 with the scissors. Sorry, pencil. 1, 2, 3. I just want to outline. Did I get it? Kinda. So the sun's in. I thought it was nice for the video, but it makes it hard to see the pencil mark. So we're going to do one more. Different pencil. 1, 2. Alright, I'm going to live with that. Alright, so that's clear. Before I glue, I'm going to visually inspect the so when you put the paddle down, make sure you have the protective sheet on the rubber that you just glued. I'm going to put this down. It's got some debris on it already. Wipe it off. Alright, that's clear. Now if there's anything on this, I don't see anything, I could use my tape and just dab the particles off. So now we're going to glue again. I have my fan ready. So here we go. Let me check the video. Alright, looks good. Looks good. I'm going to start with the rubber first and then the blade. So in the S shape, that's it. very light around the edges. I like to do in the middle and the bottom. Edges again. This may not be enough. I'm going to put a little bit more on here just because. I want to see a little bit thicker cover on this coat. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to go around the edges and make sure I got where the pencil marks are. That looks good. Then I'm going to pull one way from top to bottom, lightly. Just make a light coat so it's even. I don't want to push in. I'm not going to drive glue into the rubber or the sponge. Looks good. And now to the paddle. Remember, use the same side of the applicator. And if you use too much on the blade, you can always use the other side and wipe off some. I'm going to do this with light and pretty quick to spread the glue around. And see, this side has more. This side's not absorbing the glue like the other side did yesterday or last night. So this is what I would expect to see consistently on a blade. This looks good. So I'm just going to make sure I get close to the handle, come down below where the player's hand's going to be. You can always wipe that off later. Alright, and then just smooth light strokes so you get even lines, and then I go around the edges and dab like this. Alright, now this is going to dry before this will, so I'm going to wash out my little applicator now with water, and we're going to put the fan on. We're going to come back and it should be dry. Alright, check the blade. Blade looks good. It's like watching glue dry. So the rest of this video is going to be when this dries, we're going to put it on the blade. We're going to use the roller to lightly roll it out. We're going to press down, and then we're going to put the books on, and then we're going to cut the video, and then tomorrow or this evening, it's going to sit probably 8 to 10 hours. If I get time tonight to do it, I'll cut the second sheet, and then we'll put some edge tape on or not, depending on what the player wants. And then the blade should be ready to go. Alright. It's almost done. So it should just dry clear. There's still a little bit of white in this area, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry. Again, you don't have to use the fan, but for time's sake, it's easy to do. Let's hope it. You can also tell if you put too much glue, it takes a long time to dry. So be mindful of just trying to do an S shape with maybe, you know, a half, maybe an inch between lines, and just go up to the top. So if you have your mark with your pencil, just start on one side and go down at the top, maybe 5 or 6 lines. Alright, this is looking pretty good. A little bit longer. And I'm just looking at the glue on the blade, and it looks pretty good. Everything's covered. I don't see any bare wood spots, and I see nice streak lines. That look good. And I don't see any particles. So it's looking good. Alright, so this is pretty clear. Yep. Fans off. Let's do a video check. Alright, so we can see everything. Yep. Alright, so because I've used pencil marks, I don't have any glue on the corners, this rubber sheet's going to be easy to handle. So the handle is going to come up to my chest. I'm going to pick this rubber off. I have my roller ready this time. I'm going to grab it in between the middle finger and index finger, and the other 3 fingers are going to grab lower down towards the label, and we're just going to bend and make sure this label area is flat and that it connects first down to this spot. That's the only thing I'm watching for right now, is to make sure I get it lined up. So let's see, here we go, real slow. Alright, it's down, and then I'm going to press. It looks even, and then I'm just gonna grab the top, make sure it pressed down. Now do not press down into the blade in the rubber. We're just gonna roll lightly to just make sure that there's a uniform adhesion. That's it. Done with the roll. Don't press hard. I'll reach through the video and smack you, and then just press around the edges and in the middle. You're not going to get any air bubbles because of the way that we rolled it out. We didn't press down hard, there's no need to. Alright. Beautiful. And I'll just do a quick inspection. That looks great. Everything is lined up here. So we're going to put this back on top to protect it. I'm going to put some books on it. Same books back. This is just 2 books about this thick. Alright. And then put whatever you want on top. You can, if you're superstitious, you can put stuff on top. I don't know. Kind of goofy, but it works. Alright, and then make sure that the blade is off the table, so that if the handle is on the table, then you're going to get more pressure on the blade. I don't like to do that. So here it's set. We're ready to go. I'm going to wait 8 to 10 hours and then come back and cut the second sheet. That's it. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, just post them on the video.